Hi, welcome back to another Terranscapes mini product review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Silflor's leaf foliage. So here you see the Silflor miniature leaves. Now this box is marked Ivy, and I think they sell it as Ivy, but it's in the same section on the site. I'll double check. There'll probably be an annotation in here somewhere about that. But this one is marked, your tree foliage. I don't know what the plain means, but it is listed as leaf foliage on their site. The boxes each have 3 sheets. Let's do an unboxing here real quick so you can see what the sheets look like. The sheets come like this. They are separated by a sheet of plastic, and it's a fairly neat way to store them even after you've been using them, except for the label, which is going to give me a hard time. And not relevant to the actual review, but the way I store them at my workbench, it's probably a little out of focus, but I put a little Velcro, and I have some Velcro under a shelf, and I just stick them up there. So the boxes make a nice handy store. They're low profile width-wise, but of course they also stack well, so storing these is a little bit more favorable than some of the other leaf products that I have. So let's take a closer look at the leaves themselves and show you their detail. So first up on the Silflor line here is their late summer foliage, and this is the first color that I ever purchased, and I'll show you the properties on this sheet since the other sheets are all still nice and clean. So this is what it looks like up close. It's on a fiber matrix, and it's well coated on both sides, so you don't really see those fibers very much. The leaves are reasonably attached, but as you start to tease apart the fibers, some leaves are going to fall off, and you can see that effect, scattered about. You can't see them all because they're not on camera, but there they are. Couple quick things about this before we talk about the leaves themselves is that you can tease apart bits on the threads and then use them as ivy along the walls. I've done this in the past. You can also tease it and drape it over canopies to make foliage. Now I have not done that, and there are some instructions on the Scenic Express site that talk about how to do that. I'd have to see it before I really would know whether it would work or not, because the leaf orientation would be, hither and thither, but it's an interesting concept that could be considered. And true to my promise, there are leaves that have fallen off, but that gives you an opportunity to see the leaves themselves in detail. These have a sort of maple shape to them, 3-lobed as they're described on the packaging. They're sort of birch tree seed-like in shape, but slightly different and a bit smaller, quite a bit smaller actually than real birch seeds. You can see there's some color variation in there, and here's Mr. Tippy McLean's hand for comparison. I think that's a pretty solid scale comparison for 30 millimeter. Oh, and Mr. Tippy is making marks on my weight. Oh, I'm made of lead. Not lead. Oh God, that shows how old I am. They used to be lead in the old days. All right, let's take a look at another color. So this is their Ivy Summer, and interesting to note their scale, 1/45 plus. What does that mean? Larger scales than 1/45? I guess so. So you could go up to 1/30th or beyond. I guess at 1/45 they think they start looking too big. Maybe. I haven't seen a 1/45 scale miniature before, so it's hard for me to say. seems like the next big jump in terms of collecting is 1/54th, but I digress. And why did I give Mr. Tippy the Mr. Bill's voice? I don't know. It's I grew up in the 80s. So let's see if I can get a couple off. This is a little bit darker. Okay, I think that shows up a little bit better against the white once I get them off. So that gives you a little look at the colors there. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see if I can blow this out a little bit. Here we go. Get a little more color in there. So it definitely is a very deep blue-green. That would be my best description of the color. And lastly, we will take it their plain tree foliage autumn, or their leaf foliage, and I'll mention that again, I think, in the end. Wait a minute. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. No scale. I wonder why. Maybe because they think the ivy has to be a specific scale. I don't know. Anyway, they're all the same size. Now, wait a minute. I should say that they do have ivy in particular in smaller scales down to like N, and I think even smaller than that. So pay attention to the scales if you're in the ivy section when you're on the site. But in any case, this is a look at the autumn leaves. And we have some color variations, mostly tans. Let's see if we can get a couple off of here. They're actually, I would say they're pretty uniform. They look darker in places because they have a lot of shadows, and they take up those shadows pretty well, being a fairly rich brown to start with. And let me just boost down. Can I boost down the exposure? And we can see it as we saw against the other leaves. So here's the ivy. So that gives you a closer look at the Silflor leaf foliage leaves. So I hope you found some of that looky look at the Silflor foliage helpful. I often get questions, often is a weird word, frequently, people requesting that I show the products in use, right? That I do a tutorial on using them. And I would love to do that. If YouTube was my full-time job, I would eagerly do that. But unfortunately, I have to split my time. And so I won't be able to do that kind of a video. But when I use these products in a project, and you may very well likely see these in some of the projects I'm working on right now, I will try my best to point them out. And if you see something in the project and you wonder, oh, is that Silflor stuff you reviewed a week ago? A week ago. That's an ambitious timeline. A while ago. Feel free to ask. Put it down in the comments. I'm happy to answer those and point those things out, and probably throw a tip or two in the comments. So hopefully you understand that, and you'll stay around to see the projects so that you can see if I use these or not. Just as a quick wrap up though on these, the price for the Silflor's package of foliage is $25, just double checking. And you get 3 of those 3.5 by 6-inch sheets. And I'm just looking to make sure I don't forget anything. I think they're a pretty good value, actually. The foliage goes a long way. This is a lot of material in here, depending on how you use it. And I have several of these on my shelf in a variety of other things, their tufts and all of that. And I think I feel pretty good about the value that I get out of them. So I would recommend this product if it's the kind of thing that might fit your project's needs. And you should definitely take a look at the line, because there are a lot of different colors and other assorted, tufts and things like that that are worth a look. I think Scenic Express is a great site for materials. And just before I go, just want to mention, if you are interested in becoming a patron, you may at this point not be interested. You may say, I wasn't thinking of it. But little did you know that you might be missing some unique content that I put up on the Patreon site, little insights and snips of things I'm thinking about at the time. They're not, I won't try to lead you and say that there's one a day or two a week or something like that, but they go up with some regularity, and it's just another way for me to connect with my patrons, and also another way for me to share a little bit about what's going on in my Terranscapes world that doesn't really have a good fit for doing video work. So just an incentive, something to think about. But either way, hopefully you will come back and you will join me for the next video, because whatever that video is about, you know that I will be back with it, and it will be another Terranscapes video. Awkward. Do it again. That exposure looks dark. It does look dark. I know why. Are we recording? Oh, Jesus. All right. Big files, a lot of crap on it.